Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mini Books Podcast with your host Gloria and Rogan, and today we are excited to dive into Special Book with you. We picked this one because it has really important lessons to share and we can't wait to talk about them. So let's get started.
All right, diving in. Today's deep dive is one a lot of you requested, Stoicism, and how to actually use it to navigate life. Not just the theory, but like the practical tools.
Yeah, it's interesting how this philosophy, it's centuries old, but people still connect with it. Guess everyone's looking for that timeless wisdom, right, to deal with life's craziness.
Totally. It's easy to get lost, though. Like try to jump into the deep end of philosophy without even learning to float first. We're changing that up with this deep dive. Our guide is a little book of Stoicism.
Great book. Gets to the heart of Stoicism, makes it relevant for today.
Absolutely. It brings it to life. So, quick thing, when you hear Stoicism, don't picture like a robot, emotionless. That's not what we're talking about.
Nope, not at all. It's more about finding that inner strength, that stillness, to handle whatever life throws at you without getting totally swept away. Think of it like facing challenges, but your mind is calm, clear. You can choose how to react, not just get hijacked by your emotions.
Makes sense. So someone completely new to this, how'd you explain what Stoicism actually is?
Basically, it's a philosophy of life. The Stoics would say it's about living in harmony with nature, meaning true happiness, fulfillment. It doesn't come from stuff outside of you, but from within.
So less about chasing, I don't know, the next thrill, the next achievement. It's more about building something stronger on the inside.
Exactly. It's about focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, how you react, and accepting what you can. Like imagine an archer aiming at a target. You can control your aim, your focus, when you let go of the arrow. But the wind, that's out of your hands.
So recognizing you can prepare the best you can, but some things, you just can't control them. Doesn't that make Stoics kind of passive? Just letting life happen?
No, not passive. Think of it as active acceptance. You acknowledge what is without fighting it. Then you choose the best way to move forward.
Interesting. Where'd this whole philosophy even come from?
Started back in ancient Greece, founded by a guy named Zeno of Citium. Get this. He was a wealthy merchant, lost everything in a shipwreck. That experience, it made him question everything, life, happiness. That's what led him to establish Stoicism.
Wow. Talk about a life changer. It wasn't just like philosophers who got into Stoicism, though, right? You had Seneca, big-time politician, and Epictetus, used to be a slave, became this amazing teacher.
Exactly. And of course, Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, but he used Stoic principles in his leadership, his everyday life. Shows you Stoicism works for everyone, no matter who you are, what you do, anyone looking for a better, more meaningful life.
So we've got these Stoics coming from all different walks of life, finding something valuable in this philosophy. What was it they actually did, though? Like, how do we take these ancient ideas and make them work for us today?
That's the exciting part. This book, A Little Book of Stoicism, it's not just explaining stuff, it's giving you tools, a framework to put it all into action. One of the key concepts is something called the Stoic happiness triangle.
Okay, a triangle? Now I'm intrigued. Break that down for me.
So it's all about getting three things lined up. Living with Uri, focusing on what you can control, and this idea that everything else is indifferent.
All right, let's unpack that. Starting with, what was it? Arit. Sounds kind of like elite. Is this about being like the best at everything?
Not exactly. It's less about, racking up achievements, more about fulfilling your potential, being the best you in each moment, acting with wisdom, justice, courage, self-control. These virtues the Stoics were big on.
So Ari is like trying to make choices that line up with those virtues no matter what's going on, which makes the next part of the triangle interesting. If we're only focusing on what we can control, does that mean just ignoring everything else?
It's about understanding where your power actually is. Not in trying to control the uncontrollable, right, but mastering your own thoughts, your actions. Remember that archer example earlier?
Right. Yeah.
You can't guarantee a bullseye every single time, but you can control your technique, your focus, how much you practice.
Makes sense. Life's not always as neat as archery, though. What about when things go wrong? Setbacks, disappointments. That's where the indifferent part comes in.
Exactly. Stoics understood a lot of life is outside our control. Health, money, what people think of you, even other people's opinions, all that. They call these things indifferent because they don't determine if you're happy, if you can live a good life.
So it's not that they don't matter at all, but we shouldn't get hung up on them. Let them dictate our emotions. more about acknowledging what is, accepting it, than choosing how to respond in a way that, well, aligns with those virtues we talked about.
Perfectly said. And the acceptance, it doesn't mean you become passive. It's actually empowering. You focus your energy where it matters most on your own choices, your own actions.
Okay, starting to see how this all fits together. How do we do that, though? Life gets messy. We get stressed, lose our cool. How do the Stoics handle those rough patches?
They had practices almost like mental training to build up that resilience, to live by those core principles. A little book of Stoicism, it lays out some of these practices in a really clear way.
So like hitting the Stoic gym,
hmm
working on our inner strength. What are some of those exercises?
One that's really powerful is, it's called negative visualization. Sorry to interrupt you guys. If you're enjoying this podcast, then don't forget to check out our official YouTube channel, Mini Books Podcast, and subscribe for more great podcasts like this one. Might sound kind of strange at first.
Negative visualization. So like
Yes.
picturing bad stuff happening. Not sure I follow.
Not manifesting it, no. More like mentally preparing for it. You take a few minutes, imagine those potential setbacks, challenges, even losses, things that could happen in a situation. It's not about being negative, but being realistic, building resilience.
So it's like mentally rehearsing for those tough situations. Firefighters, they run drills, right? For all kinds of scenarios.
Exactly. By mentally preparing for those obstacles, we take away some of their power. When they do happen, they don't derail us so easily. It's about handling the unexpected with more calmness, more clarity.
That's a very different way of looking at challenges. Instead of being afraid of what might go wrong, we can use that to prepare ourselves, to get stronger.
Mm.
What other practices do the Stoics have up their sleeves?
Another one is voluntary discomfort.
Okay, that one sounds a little extreme. Why would anyone choose to be uncomfortable on purpose?
It's not about seeking out suffering or anything. It's about every now and then stepping outside your comfort zone. Builds mental and physical resilience. And remember, the Stoics, they valued strength, they valued resilience, saw those as key virtues.
So it's about challenging yourself, proving you can handle a little discomfort, and maybe along the way you start to appreciate the good stuff, the stuff you usually take for granted, even more.
Exactly. It could be as simple as a cold shower. Or maybe you delay a gratification. Fast for a day. It's about proving to yourself you're not a slave to your desires. You can handle what life throws at you. And that builds this mental toughness, which, let me tell you, it comes in handy when you're facing real challenges.
You know, that whole voluntary discomfort thing,
Yeah.
it sounded kind of out there to me at first. But I get it now. Building that inner strength, like the Stoics were saying, don't wait for life to get tough. Challenge yourself, grow from it.
Exactly. And these practices, it's not just about dealing with the hard stuff. It's about living a better life, period. This book, it emphasizes gratitude, remembering that nothing lasts forever, focusing on what truly matters.
That sounds a lot like, mindfulness, that kind of thing. That's part of Stoicism, too.
It's all connected. Stoics knew real happiness. It wasn't about having tons of stuff or chasing pleasure all the time. It was about appreciating what you have, knowing that everything changes, and living in line with your values.
So focusing on what gives life meaning, not just what feels good in the moment. One thing from the book that really hit me was that idea, remembering you're not that special. It sounded kind of harsh at first, but then the more I thought about it, it was freeing in a way.
It's a powerful shift, isn't it? Not about putting yourself down or anything. It's realizing the stuff we go through, the challenges, the setbacks, the emotions, and we're not alone in that. It's the human experience.
Like that bird's eye view the book talks about, seeing yourself as part of something so much bigger than just your own little world. Suddenly, your problems, they don't seem so huge anymore. Kind of comforting, actually.
Right. It helps when we get stuck in our own heads, feeling like we're the only ones struggling. Remembering, you're not alone. Tons of people have gone through similar things. It gives you perspective, a little peace of mind.
Seems like so much of Stoicism is about shifting perspective, changing how we see the world, our place in it.
Exactly. It's realizing we always have a choice. How we look at things, how we react to challenges, how we show up each day. It's all a choice.
Like that Marcus Aurelius quote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Powerful stuff. It's not about waiting for things outside of us to change. It's about working on our inner world so we can thrive no matter what life throws at us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's what this whole deep dive has been about. Giving you the power to take control of that inner world. So you can handle life's ups and downs with more resilience, more purpose, and, even more joy.
We covered a lot today, that's for sure.
Yeah.
From where Stoicism came from, to its principles, to those practical tools, those practices. As we wrap up, what's one thing that really resonated with you? Something our listeners could try out today?
Ooh, good question. If I had to pick one, I'd say pick one of these Stoic practices, just one from the book, and commit to it for a week. Could be gratitude, taking a few minutes to just breathe, maybe even finding a Stoic quote that speaks to you, reflecting on it.
Love that challenge. And it's a great way to end this deep dive. It's not about changing everything overnight, right? It's about those small steps, day after day, building towards that stoic way of being. And who knows, you might just find those ancient practices, they can make a real difference in your life. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Stoicism. We always love hearing your thoughts, your experiences, so keep them coming. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to dive into more book insights and key learnings, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Mini Books Podcast, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We're back every Sunday at 9 a.m. with new books and more to learn from. Until next time, take care, keep learning, and keep growing. Remember, this is Mini Books Podcast.